Hello everyone. Thank you for attending my presentation. My name is Yushi Ito and I work at Utsunomiya University, which is located in eastern Japan. And today my presentation will be on how teachers provide feedback on L2 pronunciation in online study. Just to give you a brief outline of what this presentation is going to be. First of all, I'm going to give you a background and overview of the present research. And to justify my research, I will briefly talk about theory and literature. And then I will go over the methods. For my findings and discussion, I will present teacher participants' interview and comments on student submissions. Finally, I will present the conclusion and future study. First, I will talk about background and overview of the present research. This study was conducted in 2020 during the pandemic. I remember that I was constantly talking with my colleagues about how we can integrate speaking activities in online environments. What I mean by online class in this research is on-demand class, where students can take classes whenever and wherever they want. During the fall semester, students submitted their recorded oral English assignments into the learning management system every week. Later, teachers commented on student submission. I was overwhelmed with over 100 of students' recording data and how I should give feedback on it every week. I was sure that my colleagues were feeling the same way, and then this became my inspiration for the present study. In this research, I specifically focus on teachers' feedback on pronunciation. This is because pronunciation is an essential element of communicative competence, and even in online environments, I believe teachers are responsible for nurturing learners' awareness of pronunciation. Many questions arose when I started this research. First, is it possible and effective to correct students' pronunciation in online environments? As far as my understanding, a lot of previous feedback research has been conducted in actual classroom environments. There is no research comparing the effectiveness of feedback in classroom and online. I'm not going to talk about that in this presentation, but my future study might be focusing on that. Second, what are teachers' cognitions when they give feedback on pronunciation when teaching online? Third, what do students think about receiving feedback on their pronunciation online? In this study, I examined the second question, which is teachers' cognition, because cognition can influence classroom behaviors and understanding teacher beliefs can provide insights into teaching practices. Therefore, the present study investigated, in a Japanese university context, how EFL teachers provide feedback and what are teachers' cognition on pronunciation in online environments. Now, I will present a brief overview of theory and literature. According to Borg, teacher cognition is defined as teachers' beliefs, knowledge, and perceptions in relation to their actual teaching practices. There has been a significant amount of research focusing on teachers' cognitions of language teaching, especially on grammar, reading, and writing. Recently, more attention has been paid on pronunciation. However, as Baker notes that much of this research has relied on surveys, and therefore future study needs to be more focused on interviews and classroom observations. In addition, as Cooper reported in his study in 2019, teacher cognition of pronunciation in general is a relatively new area of investigation. Therefore, much qualitative research related to teacher cognition and pronunciation teaching in general is in need. Speaking of teachers' beliefs about oral corrective feedback, it has been paid little attention. Little is known about the beliefs of students and teachers in the foreign language EFL context, especially those in Asian countries. According to Lee, beliefs about CF refer to attitudes, views, opinions, and stances learners and teachers hold about the utility of CF. Recently, Ha and Nguyen found that teachers believe CF targets should be more selective, which means that errors, especially those related to the lesson focus, should be prioritized. They're also concerned too much correction may discourage students from participating in future activities. Other researchers such as Lee found that students are willing to receive immediate and explicit correction, while teachers were concerned about the negative effects on students' emotional states. In terms of teacher cognition of the oral CF on pronunciation, there has been a lack of research into teacher cognition of CF on pronunciation. Baker and Burry's research should be highlighted in this field. They found what experienced EAP teachers use when they provide feedback on learners' pronunciation. The results showed that they used various ways to provide feedback, including oral or written feedback on voice recording. Their concern is the amount of class time it takes and its effectiveness. Cooper claims that Baker and Burry's research in 2016 is the only research that specifically focuses on teachers' cognitions of feedback on pronunciation. Now, I will present some methods in this section. Here's a table with the information of my participants. I had 3 teacher participants in this study. All participants have studied abroad in America for several years. Abby has taught English for 13 years. Her teaching experience is quite unique. She has taught English in various countries such as Thailand, America, and Japan. She has studied how to teach pronunciation when she was doing her MA. She mainly focuses on suprasegmental areas such as intonation. She does not always correct teachers' pronunciation in the classroom. This is because correcting pronunciation may cause student anxiety and end up discouraging their willingness to speak up in the classroom. Kelly has taught Japanese and English for 8 years in Japan and America. She has studied some phonetical knowledge in her MA. She hasn't learned how to provide feedback on pronunciation. In the classroom, she sometimes uses information gap activities and has students pronounce to each other. However, she does not correct their pronunciation because she doesn't have much confidence in teaching pronunciation. Besides, she is concerned about the negative effects on students. Mark lived in America for more than 20 years. He has taught English in Japan and America for about 10 years. He plays music and believes that pronunciation is one's first impression. Teaching pronunciation is quite important, and raising students' phonetical awareness is necessary. He usually uses songs in the classroom. Although he thinks teaching pronunciation is important, correcting it is pretty challenging because the criteria is not clear. He knows giving the provisional feedback is necessary. However, he prefers encouraging rather than correcting pronunciation to avoid taking away students' motivation to speak. This is an actual meaning-focused speaking task that students worked on last year. We provided a situation as you can see here. Using words and chunks that students had already learned in the previous task, they were required to fill in the blanks to complete the dialogue. After that, they used a website called Vocaro to record their oral English. Later, teachers commented on their submissions. As for data collection, after the semester finished, I collected all the comments teachers provided for students. Then I extracted the comments related to pronunciation. The analysis focused on teachers' feedback concerning students' pronunciation. Based on the findings of the analysis, each participant did face-to-face interview for about an hour in Japanese. The interviews were semi-structured and covered various topics, including not only about the comments on students' online submission, but their teaching experiences, knowledge, beliefs, or pronunciation. After completing interviews with 3 teachers, they were transcribed using Vreu. A number of themes emerged, which I will talk about later. In this section, I will present some findings and discussion. According to the analysis of the teacher's comments, I found out that explicit feedback on audio recordings of the speech was a major source of feedback. Especially, all the teachers used notational techniques. This is in line with Baker and Burry's research in 2016. They recommended that the use of notational systems can assist teachers to reduce the time needed for providing feedback on audio recordings of student speech. Feedback was provided with written-based method. Abby commented to one of her students, such as, "They are not making fun of you," in a way to stress ing to inform this student to produce it more clearly. Kelly also used notation to comment on the pitch sound of an interrogative sentence, such as "somewhere." Mark pointed out that students' rhythm is not natural, so he used notation to help students notice the importance of rhythm. This technique enables teachers to reduce the time it takes to give feedback when they focus on suprasegmental features such as intonation and rhythm. Also, students can easily notice what is wrong with the pronunciation, rather than reading corrective written feedback such as, "You need to fix the rhythm," or "You should change the tone when you use question sentence." Kelly's major feedback on students' oral English was the use of general feedback, such as "well done," "very good," and "good job." Abby and Mark also provided general feedback many times. This is also in line with Baker and Burry's research. Their classroom observations transcripts are filled with this type of general feedback to students. In addition, Hattie and Timperley found that personal feedback such as "good" or "great" often occurs in class situations. This is actually a controversial way of giving feedback. Previous research found that general feedback such as "excellent," "well done," or "good job" may have little or no benefit to the learner. However, this is a major feedback that teachers often use in their classroom. I will talk about teachers' cognition behind this way of feedback later. One of the participants, Mark, used katakana, which is students L1. He provided targeted feedback on students' suprasegmental features, especially in linking words such as "watch it" は watch it ではなく watch という感じになります。So I translated into English here. He was saying that "watch it" pronounces not like "watch it" but "watch." There's another example as you can see. "give me" give me ではなく gimme. In English, "give me" pronounce not "give me" but "gimme." The use of Japanese katakana in the practice of English pronunciation is widely used in Japanese education. However, in my understanding, there is no research focusing on the effective use of learner L1 to improve learners' English pronunciation. From the analysis of the teacher interviews, it is found that each participant showed the positive and negative perspectives towards online pronunciation feedback. As for positive aspects, Abby and Mark talked about the individual feedback. For example, Abby said that an online environment enables me to provide more specific feedback for each student than in classroom environments. Mark also claims that I had enough time to listen to each student's submission. This online opportunity gave teachers more time to focus on individuals than classroom teaching. As Mark says that, in classroom, I did not usually spend much time on listening to students' oral English due to time limitations. It is challenging for teachers to always focus on students' pronunciation. However, this on-demand opportunity enables teachers to listen to students' English at any time and possibly give provision of feedback. In terms of the negative aspects, various themes emerged. For example, it takes time to provide feedback. Take a look at the Abby's concern. It is mainly about the time it takes to provide feedback on pronunciation. She says that providing feedback is time-consuming. This is in line with Baker and Burry's research. One of their participants talking about providing explicit feedback on voice recordings, saying that I've tried it and it's time-consuming. Kelly talked about some negative comment points on pronunciation feedback in online environments, especially a lack of interaction with students. Her main feedback was general feedback, as she says that I couldn't see my students' faces, which prevented me from giving explicit feedback. In addition, she was worried if it's okay to provide feedback based on her English, saying that I wasn't sure if I should teach my English, pronounced like American. Mark also wanted some interaction with students, saying, I wanted to know how students felt about my feedback. This is the same concern as Kelly's opinion. I couldn't see my students' faces. Abby also agreed with the importance of interaction with students, saying, in classroom, I can see their progress by interacting together. This is an aspect which is lacking in on-demand classes. Finally, I will talk about the conclusion and possible future study. The current study investigated how EFL teachers provide feedback on pronunciation and what are teachers' cognition in online environments. The findings from teachers' written feedback and interviews reveal that certain suprasegmental features can be corrected explicitly by using notational techniques and the effective use of learners L1 even in online environments. These findings provide teachers, especially those who are reluctant or unsure of how to provide feedback on pronunciation, with some examples they can use to address in on-demand environments. It is also found that teachers tend to use general feedback such as very good, well done, and good job. Kelly's concern must be highlighted at this point. She mainly used this type of feedback because she was afraid of providing explicit feedback on students' pronunciation, saying that I don't have much confidence in teaching pronunciation. Giving feedback on pronunciation can be a challenging task for many teachers, so they may choose to limit time spent on it or neglect it altogether. There should be opportunities for supporting teachers and or discuss how to give feedback on students' pronunciation. In terms of the future study, the research on focusing learners' cognition towards feedback on pronunciation needs to be examined. Needs analysis of what students want to achieve in terms of pronunciation is in need. Last but not least, regardless of giving provisional feedback on students' pronunciation online or classroom, teachers are surely responsible to support students to achieve intelligible pronunciation. These are some of the references. Thank you for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions or comments, this is my email address here. So please feel free to reach me. Thank you very much.